The old house was big and silent, filled with shadows. Lily, the new maid, moved through the long hallways like a whisper. She dusted old books and polished silver frames, but her heart was in her head, dreaming of other places. She was saving her money to buy a small bookshop. Julian lived in the house too, but he was always hidden away. He was a rich man who had lost his family. He spent his days in his office, looking at numbers on a screen. The house was his, but it didn't feel like home. It was just a big, empty box. One day, Lily was cleaning the garden room. She hummed a simple tune to herself. She didn't know that Julian was watching from his window. He hadn't heard anyone hum in years. The song was soft and sad, and it made him feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. He started to see her more after that, not by talking, but by watching. He saw her carefully watering the flowers, talking to them as if they were old friends. He found himself walking down to the garden room, pretending to look for something. Lily saw him and froze. "Sorry, sir," she said softly. "I didn't know you were here." "The garden is nice when you're in it," he said, and then felt foolish for saying it. Lily's cheeks turned pink. "Thank you. I think so too." He didn't know what to say next. It had been years since he had a simple talk with anyone. She saw his struggle and said, "The roses are doing well this year." He nodded. "They are." Next day, she was holding a small, brown bird that had flown into the window. "Don't worry," she whispered to it. "You'll be okay." Julian watched from the doorway. He didn't know what to do when he saw her holding the bird. He had never seen a person be so gentle. He stepped inside. "Is it hurt?" he asked, his voice low. "No, just scared," Lily said, her eyes still on the little bird. She stroked its feathers with her thumb. "It will fly away when it's ready." Julian sat down in a big chair across from her. He felt a strange peace just sitting there, watching her. He thought about all the money he had, all the things he owned. None of it felt as real or as important as this quiet moment with a girl and a tiny bird. They sat in silence for a long time. The bird finally fluttered its wings and flew out the open window. Lily's eyes followed it until it was gone. When she turned back to Julian, she saw that he wasn't looking at the window. He was looking at her. "Thank you," he said. Lily was confused. "For what?" "For being here," he said simply. "This house, it's not so quiet anymore." A soft blush came to her cheeks. She liked him. She had liked him for a while. He wasn't the distant, cold boss everyone said he was. He was lonely. She understood that. Then, the front door opened, and a woman in a fancy suit walked in. She was beautiful, with sharp eyes and a perfect smile. She saw Lily and Julian together, and her smile tightened. "Julian, darling," she said, her voice like ice. She didn't look at Lily. "What are you doing down here? You should be getting ready. The board meeting is in an hour." She turned to Julian and kissed his cheek. "And you said you didn't have time to see the new paintings for the gallery." She took his arm and pulled him toward the door. "Let's go. We have a life to live." Julian looked back at Lily for a second before he was gone. Lily stood there, feeling a cold she hadn't felt in a long time. She knew who the woman was. She was Julian's fiancé, the woman he was going to marry. The quiet of the house returned, but this time it felt heavier than before. Lily finished cleaning the garden room, her movements slow and careful. The memory of the woman, Julian's fiancé, hung in the air like a cold mist. The quiet that had once felt peaceful now felt empty. She had been foolish, letting a few kind words and shared glances make her believe something more could happen. She was just a maid. He was the billionaire who was about to get married. Days turned into weeks. Julian was rarely seen. When he was with his fiancée, whose name was Victoria. Lily would catch glimpses of them in the hallways, Victoria's laugh ringing out, Julian's face a polite mask. He still looked at Lily sometimes, a quick glance that held a flash of something she couldn't name. Regret? Longing? She didn't let herself believe it was anything but her imagination. One evening, Lily was on her way to the staff quarters when she heard raised voices from Julian's office. She didn't mean to listen, but the door was open, and the words were sharp and clear. "This is ridiculous, Julian," Victoria's voice snapped. "You're spending millions on this absurd project, and for what? It's a waste of money. The company needs to be profitable, not a charity." "It's more than a charity, Victoria." Julian's voice was low and steady, but full of feeling. "It's a foundation to help small bookstores, to help people who are passionate about books stay in business." Lily's heart stopped. She knew about this. The foundation was a new project for Thorne Industries, a way to help small businesses that were struggling. She had read about it on an old magazine, and it sounded like a dream to her. Victoria scoffed. "A little hobby project for you to feel good about. The board hates it. I hate it. We need to focus on what matters. We're getting married in 3 months. The Thorne family legacy is about power, not sentimentality." Julian's voice was quiet and cold. "The Thorne legacy is my decision, Victoria. And if you don't believe in the things that matter to me, then maybe this isn't going to work." Lily quickly hurried down the hall, her mind awhirl. The foundation for bookstores. It was her dream, a dream she had shared with no one. Julian had to know. But how? She had never told him. She went back to her room, her mind racing. She remembered a day, weeks ago, when she had left her notebook on a bench in the garden. In it, she had written all her plans for the bookshop, her dreams and hopes laid bare on the page. She had rushed back to find it, but it was gone. She had thought she'd lost it forever. A soft knock came at her door. She opened it to find Julian standing there, holding her notebook. He looked tired, his usual polished look gone. "I found this a while ago," he said, his voice quiet. "I read it. I'm sorry. You started a foundation for small bookstores because of me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. He looked down at the notebook in his hands. "No, not because of you, but because of what you made me see. You showed me that a dream, even a small one, is worth fighting for." He met her eyes, and there was no hiding the sadness in his. "I realize my life has been about numbers and power, but not about things that truly matter." He held the notebook out to her. "I'm going to follow my heart, Lily. I'm going to follow my dream, just like you are." He took a deep breath. "And I'm going to break off my engagement, because it's the right thing to do." He walked away, leaving Lily standing in the doorway, her notebook in her hands. The pages were worn from being read. The cold silence of the house was finally broken, replaced by a new feeling: hope. After leaving Lily with her notebook, Julian went straight to his office. He called Victoria and ended their engagement. The conversation was short and cold, a stark contrast to the years they had spent together. When he hung up, a strange mix of relief and sadness washed over him. He was a free man, but he was also more alone than ever. He spent the next few days working on the bookstore foundation. He hired a small team, a group of people who truly loved books and believed in the project. He felt a passion for his work that he hadn't felt in years. But something was missing. He missed Lily. He missed their quiet moments in the garden room. He missed the simple kindness she had shown to a lost bird. He missed the feeling that he wasn't so alone in his big, silent house. Meanwhile, Lily was busy too. With a newfound hope, she started looking for a small building for her bookshop. She drew up new plans and wrote down ideas for events, feeling a fierce excitement. She was still just a maid, but now she had a secret dream, one that was closer to coming true than she ever thought possible. One rainy afternoon, Julian found himself in the garden room again. He sat in the same chair as before, watching the raindrops slide down the window. Lily walked in to check on the plants, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them was different now. It was filled with all the things they couldn't say. "I ended things with Victoria," he said, his voice quiet. Lily stopped watering a rose bush. She turned to face him, her heart beating fast. "I heard. I also gave a foundation its first funding," he continued. "It's going to help dozens of small businesses. I owe it all to you." "You don't owe me anything," she said, her voice soft but firm. "It was your choice." Julian stood up and walked toward her. He stopped a few feet away, close enough that she could see the genuine hope in his eyes. "You're wrong. You're wrong. You showed me that there's more to life than money and power. You showed me that a person's dreams are the most valuable thing they own." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a key. It was a simple, old-fashioned key tied with a string. "I bought a small building downtown," he said. "It's a perfect little shop, and it has an apartment on top. I bought it for the foundation, but I was hoping you'd want to be its first project." Lily stared at the key in his hand, her mind racing. A bookshop, an apartment, her dream right there in front of her. "I can't take this," she whispered, shaking her head. "It's too much. It's a business loan," he said, stepping closer. "You'll pay me back with your hard work, your passion, and maybe a little bit of your time." He gently took her hand and placed the key in her palm, his fingers lingering on hers. "I don't want to be alone in this big, silent house anymore. I want to be in your bookshop. I want to hear your stories." She looked up at him, a tear welling in her eye. She saw not a billionaire, but a man who was just as lost and lonely as she had been. "I think I can make time for that," she said, her voice trembling. A small, hopeful smile spread across her face, and for the first time, the quiet of the house felt like the beginning of something wonderful.